Hello, good morning, students. Today we are going to see the topic on prompt engineering types and patterns from the course Generative AI and Agentic Systems. As we have seen in the previous class, the various principles of prompt engineering, in that we came to know the most common and basic prompt types are zero shot, few shot, and chain of thought. So whichever the prompt has to be in a structured format, and it has to be a good form, good prompt, and it has to produce high quality results. So, what is mean by a good prompt? A good prompt should be clear and specific, and it should be fulfilling the details and purpose of the user. Also, it should have a context with the instructions and with the specific examples. And this good prompt will produce the relevant output and accurate results with a coherent structure. So that makes the high quality content. So let's have the ice-breaking question with the recap touch. So, what is prompt engineering to your knowledge, and what are the various types of basic prompts? How do you give instructions to the humans and AI? If you look at the diagram, the prompt engineering is involving with crafting the prompt and also the refinement of prompt. Then that would be producing the generated accurate responses to that. So here the key principle is to be the prompt has to have clear, specific context followed by the format and style, then with the specific examples as models. So the objective of the session is to understand the seven types of prompts, say from explicit prompt, the conversational prompt, and instructional prompts, then context-based prompts, and the bias prompt, and the open-ended prompts, and code generation prompts. So with these seven types of prompting, we are going to uh, compare and apply this in real problems and with the exploration of applications. So let us take the problem statement. There is an AI developer who is finding the inconsistent output. Maybe the challenge what the person is facing is writing effective prompt. So the crafting has to be taught or trained for creating effective prompt. So the effective prompts, as you know, that it has the clarity, context, and keywords. The tone also it is highly important with the examples touch. Then with the design thinking approach, you see the structure of a prompt, how it should be that we with the example of sentence. In the sentence, it is given how please do a comical play on the lyrics of Holy by Justin Bieber, but center the song of Mr. Smith, my dog. He is a cotton Delaire, and his girlfriend is our other dog, Baby Jan, who is a Lhasa Apso. So in that you see that the format is given, the reference is also mentioned, and the request is given, okay, with the format. So we need to empathize this with the structured prompt. Then we can see the responses from that, and we'll be able to identify the various patterns in the ideation stage. So in the if it is a zero shot prompting, it is when you ask an AI platform to perform a task without giving it any example, a prior training specific to that particular task, it will give the response. Without any examples, if you give, it will be able to give some response. Okay. So this is some kind of translation example. Okay. Now, in few short prompting, you see that the classify the following sentence based on the sentiment. Okay, what a beautiful day, positive. The weather is quiet in today, negative. I have a desk in my living room, neutral. So if you give example, then with the followed by the example, it will be able to see that it will identify whether it is the positive statement or negative statement or a neutral statement. So through this also the model can be learned or trained. This is called input output pairing. So in the third case of chain of thought prompting, it is the art of reasoning step by step, like solving a mathematics problem. Okay, so here the logical problem is given, like to solve a equation or to find the value of a x in a quadratic equation, or find the coefficient or value or whatever it is. So in three cases, one is like translation, the second one is like what you have seen that is a kind of finding the answer with the reasoning, and the third case is like finding the answers with the step-by-step mathematical step process. So here the comparison is given with the illustration with the diagrammatic touch also. If you see COT, it is a one by one step by step. If it is self-consistency, it has a tree structure. But if it's tree of thought, it has a hierarchical tree structures. So let's take the prototype example of solving that case of one particular problem. Like Roger has 5 tennis balls and he buys two more cans of tennis ball. Each can has 3 tennis balls. How many tennis balls does does he have now? So there's a question. In the first standard prompting, the answer is 11. Okay, so here in another case the answer is like more detailed. Like Roger started with 5 volts, so the answer is 11 with a clear statement. So when you give a model input, when you will get the model output. Okay, so one model I've given, so with the 11 touch. Then I give the state the problem with the cafeteria of had 23 apples. If they use 20 to make lunch and bought 6 more, how many apples do they have? So here the answer is 27, but it is wrong actually. When you see the other chain of thought prompting, the answer is 9. That is the actual correct answer. So how it happened? Because in the chain of thought prompting, I gave a model problem with the clear detailed information. But in comes to standard prompting, I'm not giving any detailing of the problem. So it is giving the random answers. So here the applications of T model, it is used in chatbots, education sectors and coding. Also, the various reasoning can be applied in that AI like fuzzy, monotonic, analogical, inductive, objective, common sense reasoning, and monomonotonic reasoning and deductive reasoning, etc. So finally, the differentiation is the summary, the prompt design and prompt engineering. Prompt design is the art of communicating with LLM, and prompt engineering is the science of designing prompts for purpose of reliability and scalability. So we got the key takeaways of prompt design matters. So the conclusion, zero shot is quite simple for the beginners, and few shot is guided prompting, which is for the professionals, and COT uh, is for the advanced level reasoning, which is for experts. So thank you. With the assessment, we'll come to know that you take a role play, especially of the chain of thoughts, and reflect that what is the role and task, context, and